The top 3 symptoms that are likely caused by your medications. People often blame these things on something else, like aging or some other issue that's going on in their lives. But these are the top 3 that are often caused by medications and often go unnoticed for quite some time. Number 3, dizziness or lightheadedness. This is something that people experience very commonly. I see people come into the office all the time, and their main complaint is, I'm always dizzy, I always feel lightheaded, or I'm lightheaded when I stand up or get out of bed. And this can very, very commonly be caused by medications. Isn't that right?
Oh, of course. When I see patients, and this is such a common complaint that people sometimes have had this for years, it's this changing and standing up and feeling like you're going to pass out or faint, or feeling like you have a temporary lapse in consciousness where you feel like you may go down. And the first thing I think as a cardiologist is that, is your blood pressure overtreated? And that is often the case. And again, that can be from the choice of medications you're on, what time of your medications you take, and the whole idea of medication prescribing or the prescribing cascade.
The big ones on this are blood pressure medications. So those very commonly, especially if people aren't rechecking multiple times, especially if you've gotten healthy and you lost weight and you started eating better and you started exercising, but nobody changed your blood pressure medications to compensate for your new healthy lifestyle, it can absolutely lead to this. And we see this all the time. But you're absolutely right. It depends on the type of blood pressure medication as well. Which ones are very common?
Chlorthalidone, hydrochlorothiazide, furosemide, these are all diuretic based, meaning they're water pills that make you pee. And so people are taking them and they're not staying hydrated. This can definitely cause what's called orthostatic hypotension, or it's positional drops in your blood pressure, like you're going to the bathroom at night, you get up and you feel lightheaded or dizzy because they're dehydrating you. Now, sometimes people are on these diuretics for heart failure as a treatment to get rid of a lot of excess fluid, but just in the general population, when they're used for blood pressure, they can definitely essentially dehydrate you. And again, the final common pathway is you're having less perfusion to your brain. So when you're standing up, your blood pressure drops and you feel dizzy or lightheaded. And so again, a lot of the times it's either multiple medications together, diuretic medications, but also whenever I see patients, especially on lots of different medications, not only do I see if I can de-prescribe, but also is timing of medications. A lot of people take all their medications in the morning, don't spread them out during the day. Sometimes splitting up some in the morning, some at night can drastically reduce that feeling that you're getting, or getting on lower doses, but always talk to your doctor about that. Staying better hydrated. Having a good hydration powder, I think, has always helped me a lot.
That's good.
Is some people just don't inherently like to drink water. So getting something that you can mix in with your water can really help a lot in keeping up not only with electrolytes, but hydrating and getting rid of the dizziness and lightheadedness.
No, that absolutely makes sense. The next one, number 2, is fatigue. Just this general sense that you are lethargic, you're exhausted, and you didn't used to be. And this can be caused by many different things. Fatigue is a very general symptom that many different conditions can lead to. But certainly, medications are probably one of the most underdiagnosed causes of fatigue. And people that are on a lot of medications, if you're on a lot of medications, one of those very well might be responsible for your fatigue, or maybe multiple of the medications are responsible for your fatigue.
Sure, absolutely. It's medication stacking. Again, it's the polypharmacy burden of just a lot of medications at once. Especially if you take them all again in the morning, that can cause a lot of daytime fatigue where you really just have this persistent low energy, you're dragging, you've lost your pep. And some people just attribute that this is what we expect with aging, or you're told by your doctor, well, that's just because you're getting older. But a lot of times it could be your medications. And again, as a cardiologist, one that really stands out there a lot are beta blockers like metoprolol, atenolol, carvedilol are just some of the more common ones used. But some people take these in the morning and it causes a lot of daytime fatigue, that feeling of like when you sit in a chair, you could be out and take a nap. Sometimes either talking to your doctor, see is there an alternative medication that I could take that would be better without less fatigue side effects. It really can zap your pep, really in all ages. I personally find that taking the class of medications, beta blockers at night, cause less fatigue.
Or statins now. We've talked on this channel multiple times about statins, but they have many different side effects, including muscle pain and many calf pain, tendon pain. But fatigue is also a well-known side effect that we tend to see with this medication as well.
Yeah, absolutely. We know that statins deplete CoQ10. We know that CoQ10 is a spark plug for your muscle cells. So when that gets depleted, you have less energy in your muscles. And you're right, but a lot of people associate statins with muscle aches or that Charlie horse feeling all over. But fatigue and muscle fatigue can be a big, really side effect of statins. And
Absolutely.
so either talking about getting on an alternative statin, if you can get off your statin, even better, eating healthier and really striving to make changes to get off medications. I do sometimes advise in these cases patients to take supplements with CoQ10, which actually can sometimes help replete the depletion of CoQ10 from the statins.
And another big one is SSRIs, selective serotonin reuptake inhibitors. Wow, what is that? Those are anxiety and depression medications that your doctor sometimes will put you on. And those are not often medications that you're told about that can cause significant fatigue and sometimes dizziness and lightheadedness, to go back to the original symptom. So you need to be cognizant of that if you are placed on one of these medications. Now, here's a problem I have with these medications as well. Sometimes somebody is going through a really difficult time in their life. Something bad happened. They had some tragedy and they're placed on this to help you get through it, but then nobody ever takes you off. And that's not good. So you always need to be reevaluated to say, hey, do you still need the help with this medication? Are there other ways you can work through this? Because if you just stay on this forever, you can start developing a lot of these different symptoms.
Yeah, especially the SSRIs. I feel like they really have a role in people who really need it, who've been through traumatic events. But again, people are started on the medication and no one ever stops it. And I find with the SSRIs that people eat more, metabolism slows down, people gain weight.
Yeah.
People maybe are less stressed. So we do need some stress that kind of moves us throughout the day. And so maybe the fact of weight gain, increased carb loading, which people tend to do a little bit more with the SSRIs, weight gain from increased carb loading, increased snacking, and also just how it affects your metabolism. That could also have an effect on just fatigue in general. People may be exercising less as a result of feeling less stress and maybe content and more just not moving as much.
Absolutely. And the last, number one, certainly not the least, symptom that we sometimes or often attribute to medication side effects is brain fog or memory problems. This one we see all the time. Now, we do read your comments, and I remember someone commented once that they took their parent to a neurologist because their parent was having memory problems, and then saw that they were on a statin and a bunch of other medications and said, you have to get off this immediately, and started throwing them in the trash one by one. We really liked that comment, so thank you for telling that to us, telling us that story. And we agree, there are often medications that can be causing these types of symptoms and problems that nobody tells you about. And it's years and years and years and years that go by that you have to suffer from these kind of problems before somebody mentions, hey, this could be from some of your medications.
Absolutely. And a lot of times I do think that if you are presenting with brain fog, which often people, again, expect that this comes on with aging, people are often told by their doctor that it's because you're getting older. And that's not necessarily the case, because I have some patients well into their 90s that are sharp as a tack and amazing, have these really clear minds. Those patients tend to be on less medications and not the polypharmacy. So it's the polypharmacy or the medication stacking a lot can cause brain fog. And again, beta blockers are a big culprit in these situations where they can cause that feeling where you just feel foggy headed. I've seen it time after time after time. Usually medications, it's dose dependent. The higher the dose of medications can often bring on side effects like brain fog, forgetfulness, slow thinking, just a lot of different ways it presents itself.
Yeah, absolutely. You can see it with, as you said, the beta blockers. You can see it with pain medications. Sometimes we see it with medications like gabapentin if you're taking it a lot. Sometimes we see it with benzodiazepines. Those are for anxiety and stress if you're taking a lot of them. And we can also see it with sleep medications. So if you're taking a sleep medication that's a strong synthetic medication, we can start to see this over time, and it's something you got to tell your doctor about if you're starting to develop these symptoms. But really, you can see it with almost any medication. You can start seeing these kind of
You
problems. You
can.
got to recognize it.
And especially with sleep, the ones the biggest culprit is sort of like the Tylenol PM and the medications with Benadryl or anticholinergic classes of medications that we talk about. Melatonin, I don't really find that. I think actually it really helps me sleep, but I think the biggest culprit here, especially as I get older, is the medications like Benadryl.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I wholeheartedly agree. And so we're not telling you this to scare you. We're telling you this because if you are suffering from one of these symptoms, we don't want it to be missed. If it's something that's fixable, like stopping a medication or switching them, and we always want you to potentially consider going down or stopping medication safely over time if you can, then we'd like you to be able to do that. We'd like you to be able to live a better, healthier life, which is why we like that you're coming here. Please comment below and let us know your thoughts on this. Again, we always read the comments, so please keep them coming. Please check out our health and wellness store at ohiwellness.com if you're in the USA or ohiwellness.co if you're in the UK. We produce products that we think will help you on your wellness journey, and come see us again very soon.